So, good day everyone. This is again our next topic, and basically, since the term would about to end, this will be our last topic for the term. So, for our last lesson, it will be about the continuous process involvement improvement. So basically, we have said that TQM, or the Total Quality Management, is a subject or a tool for the business to improve. Okay, so one of the best factors that we are going to talk about is the continuous process improvement. TQM doesn't stop kapag nag-improve tayo once. So again, we also say that the only constant thing in this world is change. So we need to cope up with change by improving ourselves and our organization. Okay? So the objectives of this lesson are to learn and appreciate the popular continuous improvement techniques, learn the trilogy, and apply effective problem-solving methods in everyday lives. Okay? So the importance of continuous process improvement. Why is it important? Bakit importante na non-stop ang ating pag-improve ng ating organization? So yung primary goal is to attain perfection by continuously improving the business and production processes. So again, as what we have said before, we need to constantly evolve our business. We need to constantly show that the business is improving. And by that, we mean that step by step, we will be blocking with problems. So from time to time, may mga problems tayo na ma-encounter sa business. So the goal is to solve each problem of each step of the way. So basically, kung ma-solve tayo yung problem sa first week, may another problem naman na mag-occur or sprout, and then we need to solve it again, and then so on and so forth. So that as the time goes by, ma-perfect na gid ang pagdalagan sa business. Kumbaga pa, maskin ano nga problema, makaya ta na siya because na-encounter ta na siya. That is why one thing also is very important, experience. Ang daming naghahanap ng mga employers, ang hinahanap nila is experienced employees. Why? Because they know that those employees can already solve the problem. Okay? So ideally, perfection is an elusive goal. However, we must continuously aspire for its achievement. So like what we have said that perfection is maybe rare or mahirap siya abutin, or sometimes it could be sobra-sobra. Maybe in some instances, may nagasabi na sobra-sobra kung perfection gid ang ginapangita ta. However, we need to set for perfection as our goal. Okay? One thing also that I have learned sa teacher ko dati was, if you are going to set a target or a plan, we need to aspire for the sun. Kailangan daw mataas yung expectations natin or mataas yung gina-target natin, because most probably hindi na siya maabot. Maabot ta a little portion. Okay? Kumbaga pa daw, kung ang target ta is 1 million sales, most probably buti ta mag-abot sa 1 million. Pero makaya ta siya, makaya ta makaabot sa 800,000, 900,000, because gin-show ta nga ang target ta is 1 million. So ang effort na gina-exert ta is for 1 million. Okay? So, but because of our human limitations, ang makaya ta lang i-produce is mga 800,000 and 900,000. Still a very good goal. Okay? So we continuously improve by considering all work as a process, whether it is associated with production or business activities or tasks. So we continuously improve if we know or we consider things like that as a process. Okay? Give me a minute on. So why I said that it should be a process, so that we can also know or we can also determine that there is a solution. Okay? That's the target. So we continuously improve also by doing all our processes effective, efficient, and adaptable. Forecasting changing customer needs. So very important siya into marketing or into sales that we need to know how to forecast. Okay? What do we mean by forecasting? It is just scientific hula. Okay? Tama ba ang term ko? Scientific siya nga paghula. Kung ano ba ang magiging movement or ano ba ang magiging attitude ni customer. So, we know na kung December, damo mo bakal sa mga wrappers, gift wrappers, di ba? Mga paper bags because lalagyan siya sa mga regalo. Whereas kung hindi siya December, may mga bumibili pa rin pero not that big already, okay? Another one is regulating in-process performance using measures such as scrap reduction, cycle time, control chart, and etc. So these remaining things are going to be discussed already into our another by the end of the lesson. And keeping constructive dissatisfaction with the present level of performance, removing waste and rework wherever it occurs, and evaluating activities that do not add value to the product or service with the aim of removing those activities. Okay? So there's also some ways like removing non-conformities in all phases of everyone's work, even if the increment of improvement is small. Benchmarking to improve competitive advantage. What do we mean by benchmarking? So benchmarking is something that you visit another business similar to yours and then titingnan mo yung process nila, how are they conducting their business or their operations on a daily basis and then i-adapt nyo sa inyong company kung ano itong mga nakita nyo nga na-make sa ilang nga ginahimo. Okay? Planning to achieve breakthroughs. Okay? So we already know that planning is very important. Sabi nga sa isa kasabihan, when you plan to fail, then uh, when you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Kung wala kayong plano, then ang plano niyo is bumagsak kayo. Di ba? Ganun yun siya. And then keeping gains so there is no regression, integrating lessons learned into future activities, and employing technical tools such as statistical process control or SPC, experimental design, benchmarking, quality, function development or QFD. So now we need to understand already terms that are related into our discussion. We have process, input, and output. So what do we mean by process? Process refers to business and production activities of all organization. Business process such as purchasing, engineering, accounting, budgeting, and marketing are areas where non-conformance can represent an opportunity for substantial improvement. So process is the interaction of some combination of people, materials, equipment, methods, measurement, and the environment to produce an outcome such as a product, service, or an input to another process. So again, simply, process is something that we do. So sabi nga dito, there is a combination of people, materials, equipment, methods, measurement, and the environment. Because when you do a certain process, you need people, you need equipment, you need methods. Like for example, ano ang process sa factory? So may process flow sa factory from raw materials going to the finished product. And meron rin process si accounting or si bookkeeping, which is from journalizing up to the auditing. So that is a simple process. Okay? Now, when we say input may be materials, money, information, and data. So, when we say input, sila yung mga raw materials, kumbaga pa, raw materials, and then ipapasok mo sila into the process at lalabas si output. Okay? So, si input, yun yung kailangan mo para magawa ang process. Okay? So, ano naman ang magiging outcome? So the outcome is simply the output. So output may be information, data, products, and services. In fact, the output of one process may be the input of another process. So simply, yung ginawa kay input, di ba si input, kumuha tayo ng input, or yung mga, let's say, ang input is raw materials. Ang process is going to be more of a factory setup, and then output yung product. So output is just the result of the input and the process. However, sabi sa last sentence, ang output daw, the output of one process may be the input of another process. Okay. For example lang naman yan. For example, ang output ni finance department is mga resibo, reports, accomplishments, liquidation, vouchers. That's their output. If-forward nila siya into the accounting, because the accounting will do now the journalizing, the ledger, the trial balance, the financial statements, and the auditing. Pero kailangan ni accounting yung mga resibo. Kailangan ni accounting yung mga transactions coming from the finance department. So yung output ni finance department is going to be the input of the accounting department. So there are 5 basic ways of improvement according to D.H. Besterfield. We have reduce resources, reduce errors, meet or exceed expectations of downstream customers, make the process safer, and make the process more satisfying to the person doing it. So that's the basic ways of improvement. So when we say reduce resources, now we are going now to limit yung mga expenses natin. So for example, the company is spending on electricity, too much electricity. Then the company may make arrangement or make necessary adjustment in order for the company to reduce their electric bill. Okay, reduce errors, because errors are also expensive. Okay, every error in output, that will be going to be another expenses. Sayang yung labor cost, sayang yung input cost, sayang yung process time. Okay, and then meet or exceed expectations. Okay, that maybe is the main goal of the organization, is to please the customer in order for the customers to go back and purchase the product. Okay, so our goal is to meet the expectations or to exceed the expectations of customers, and then make the process safer, to make it more beneficial to the company and to the employees, and make the process more satisfying to the person doing it. Why? It's because if the process is more satisfying to the one doing it, it means that they will be enjoying the job maybe. And again, ulit-ulit ko din nasabi, once the employees are well appreciated, they will do more than what is expected. So the Juran trilogy by Dr. Joseph Juran is basically now a philosophy, obviously named after the one who produced it. Okay, so it's Dr. Joseph Juran. So there is the 3 process. We have the planning, control, and improvement. Okay, so we need to discuss that one by one. So in planning component starts with external customers. Marketing determines the external customers, and all organizational personnel, either as managers or members of multifunctional teams or work groups, determine the internal customers. So in the planning, it involves identifying the customer, develop a product or service features that responds to the customer needs, and develop the process to be able to produce the product and service features, and translating a plan to operation. So basically, in the planning process, we need now to understand first our customer. Because again, the business is set to solve the problem of the customer. Okay? So basically, we need now to determine kung ano tong mga needs ni customer. And then after meeting, getting the needs of the customer or kung ano tong mga gusto ni customer, then dyan papasok kung ano yung product na ipoproduce natin. Para siyang ano? Para siya yung planning is para siyang business plan or feasibility study. We need to know what is the problem of the community or what the people in the community need, and then we are going to provide it. Parang ganun lang siya. Okay? So in control is used by operating forces to help meet the product, process, and service requirement. It uses the feedback loop and consists of the following steps. Evaluate actual operating performance, compare actual performance to goal, and act on the difference. So statistical process control or SPC is the primary technique for achieving control. So basically in the control process, part of the trilogy, it is just used in the operating forces to help meet the product, process, and service requirements. So basically, parang ano lang siya, parang simply directing what needs to be done in order to meet the needs of the customers. Okay? So again, sabi dito, we need to evaluate actual operating performance. We need to compare actual performance to goal, kung ano ba yung set natin nung sa planning process. And then we need now to act kung ano yung difference nila. Kung masyado bang malayo yung performance natin into our goal. And lastly, the improvement. This part of Juran trilogy aims to achieve level of performance that are significantly higher than current levels. Process involvements begin with the establishment of an effective infrastructure such as the Quality Council. So two of the duties are to identify the improvement projects and establish the project team. So basically, again, the third part of the trilogy is basically now the TQM, which is the improvement. The business needs to constantly improve for it to be beneficial to both the business and of course the customers. Okay? So there are 7 phases of problem solving. Okay? So again, problem solving is the role of the business because the business simply needs to produce something that the community needs. Okay? Para yun yung siya, yung magiging product natin, and yun yung magiging reason bakit mag-i-exceed or bakit bibili si customer sa business. Okay? So phase 1 is to identify the opportunity. So the objective of this phase is to identify and prioritize opportunities for improvement. It has 2 parts, identify the problem and form the team. So again, we need to identify the opportunity to be better. Okay? Saan ba nagka-problema? Ano ba yung, we don't call it actually a problem in TQM. We call it opportunity because each problem is an opportunity for the business to improve. Okay? So the second part of phase 1 is to form a team that will solve the problem. So some organizations call it the technical working group or the quality council. So whatever you call it, the essence of the group is to solve the problem. Okay? So phase 2, define the scope. Failure in problem solving is frequently caused by poor definition of the problem. A problem well stated is half solved. So again, parang ano siya, parang na talaga siyang business proposal. Parang na talaga siyang marketing research or feasibility study. We need to determine the problem and we need to define the problem. Ano ba talaga yung major na problema? So for example, let's say, nubo ang number of enrollees sa amo ni nga barangay subong nga tuig. Okay, that's the problem. Nubo ang number of employees, but we need to, because of that low enrollment rate for that area, we need to determine nga ano po ang enrollment rate. Posible kasi itong subong nga online learning base wala sila signal, ga problema sa internet connection, or wala gi sila kuryente, or wala sila pambayad sa school. So we need to determine kung ano nga problem gid ang aton nga sulbaron. So in that, the major problem or yung sa phase 1 is nubo ang enrollment rate. Okay? In phase 2, we need to determine ano ba ang naging cause nga nubo ang naging nubo ang enrollment rate. Ano dito sa mga factors na to? Okay? So phase 3, analyze the current process. The objective is to understand the process and how it is currently performed. So key activities are to determine the measurements needed to analyze the process, gather data, define the process boundaries, outputs and customers, inputs and suppliers, and process flow. Identify root causes and determine level of customer satisfaction. And then phase 4, envision the future process. The objective is establishing problem solutions and recommending the optimal solution to improve the process. Once all the information is available, the project team begins its search for possible solutions. More than one solution is frequently required to remedy a situation. So sometimes the solutions are quite evident from a cursory analysis of the data. So basically, in the envision the future process, we need now to have a forecasting already. Paano ta siya himuon in the future? Or ano ba ang mga possible na ma-encounter natin nga problems in the future when we solve the problem, okay? Phase 5, implement the changes. So after the very rigid planning, we need now to implement the plan, okay? And the content of the implementation plan report must fully describe such as why will it be done, how will it be done, when will it be done, who will do it, and where will it be done, okay? So those are the important questions that we need to solve in answering, in doing our implementation plan. So phase 6, pilot or verify changes. So andyan naman siya, you can read on that. And the continuous improvement of the process. Okay? Now, let's move with Kaizen. So Kaizen is a Japanese word which is the philosophy that defines management role in continuously encouraging and implementing small improvements involving everyone. Okay? So Kaizen is actually a process started in Japan, whereas yung role ni manager or ni management is very detailed on how are they going to improve the process or the process flow of the business, which involves everyone from the management up to the lowest level employee. So it is the process of continuous improvement in small increments that makes the process more efficient, effective, under control, and adaptable. So improvements are usually accomplished at little or no expense without sophisticated techniques or expensive equipment. It focuses on simplification by breaking down complex processes into their sub-processes and then improving them. Okay? So what are the activities involving Kaizen? So, finding new ways or improving the ways in which the tasks are currently carried out, improving working environment, improving processes, improving capability of machinery through periodic as well as preventive maintenance, improving usage of tools and fixture, improvement of human resources through training and job rotation, and improving plant layout. So basically, these are the activities involving Kaizen. So there are a lot of ways of how are we going to improve the business. So nag-enumerate siya dito like improving working environment, improving processes. So as what we have said before, yung improving processes is simply yung parang we reduce the redundant process or yung mga hindi very important na process in the flow. Okay? So we need to improve the process flow by checking what is effective and what is not. Okay? So 3 basic principles of Kaizen. We have workplace effectiveness, uh, eliminate waste, strain, and discrepancy, and standardization. So what do we mean by workplace effectiveness? So Japanese have developed 5 tools for addressing the work effectiveness. So 5S is a management tool focused on fostering and sustaining high quality housekeeping. So we need to sort, straighten, scrub, systematize, and standardize. So what do we mean by sort? Or what do we mean by straighten? Or what do we mean by scrub? What do we mean by systematize? And what do we mean by standardize? So the purpose of the 5S tools are, when we say we sort, it means we separate out all unnecessary things and eliminate them. Okay? So titingnan natin sa process ng company kung ano ba yung mga hindi talaga need na process, and then dulawon ta siya. Okay? Ano itong mga process na daw hindi man useful? So we get rid of those things. Okay? We need to also to straighten. We need to arrange the essential things in order so that they can be easily accessed. So from straighten, din arrange na lang siya according to the purpose or according to the essence of things. Okay? Ano ba itong mga dali ma-access para dali sila ma-access? So kung may problema, mas dali sila ma-access. And then we scrub, we keep machinery and working environments clean, okay? Because a clean environment will make it easier to work with, okay? And systematize, make cleaning and checking as a routine process. And standardize, we need to standardize the previous steps in order for it to be continuously followed by the employees. So another is eliminate waste, strain, discrepancy. So Kaizen is achieved through application of 5S tools for workplace effectiveness and elimination of 3 MUS or MUS. Okay, so we have Muda, Muri, and Mura. So Muda is waste, Muri is strain, and Mura is discrepancy. So waste are not free but have been paid for by the organization, since those who produce waste also get paid and the material wasted costs money. Therefore, one has to minimize and ultimately eliminate the waste in an organization. So basically now, waste are simply errors. Okay? For example, kumbaga pa sa production, it is now the yung mga products that didn't pass the quality control. So siguro may mga reject and so on and so forth. So again, we know that each product na na-produce, whether they are good quality or they are not, is already a cost or an expense of the company. Kasi gumastos yung company or yung organization ng labor sa paggawa doon, at saka raw materials, and then mga electricity expenses. So we need now to get rid of those rejects or those things that are not accepted in the market or yung mga hindi pumapasa by making sure also that we produce quality products. Okay? The waste, strain, and discrepancy in respect of the following are reduced and finally eliminated. So we have human resources, production volumes, inventory, time, working space, machinery, technique, facilities, tools and jigs, and thinking. And also the third principle is standardization. So Kaizen stresses standardization of processes, materials, machinery, etc. with the following objectives. We have to represent the best, easiest, and safest way to carry out a job in the form of operating procedures and work instruction. So basically, there is a lot of ways or objectives ng standardization, but I guess this first one represents them all well. Okay, so we need now to find the best way to do the job, the easiest way to do the job, and the safest way to do the job, because those things is essential or necessary to have our product good and quality. Okay. So, Kaizen consists of three basic principles, namely the application of 5S for improving workplace effectiveness and simultaneously reducing and eliminating 3 MUS as well as standardization of methodologies. So, simply, ito yung definition ni Kaizen objective definition ni Kaizen based on the principles that we have been discussed. So the goals of Kaizen, I will leave it for you. So again, so that it. That's it. So basically, this is our last lesson for the term. So yung topic natin last week and then this week yung continuous process improvement will be our object. Will be our coverage for our examination. Okay? So thank you everyone for listening and for being part of our second term. Thank you.